Hey, it's Emily Williams, the founder of I Heart My Life and your host of the I Heart My Life show. This is episode 68, How I Make the Decision to Work with a Coach. So I am sharing insider information about my own hangups and fears when it comes to making the decision to work with a coach. We all have stuff come up for us that tries to stop us from going to the next level. And honestly, being able to move past all of that, obviously have awareness about it and look at it first, but be able to move past it is part of the upleveling process. So I'm sharing firsthand information about what comes up for me when I make big decisions like working with a coach and making an investment. I recently made a 6-figure investment, and so I have some firsthand knowledge of how to move past all of those fears that I think you're going to find highly, highly valuable today and for years to come. So let's go ahead and dive in. Today's episode is really special to me. It's something that I think we need to talk more about because I know that it's a conversation that people often sweep under the rug. They feel uncomfortable talking about, and they don't actually have the information that they need to make wise decisions when it comes to choosing a coach and moving forward in a program or course that they know is going to support them. So for me, a few years ago, I got the urge to work with a certain mentor. I'm not going to share his name on this episode today. Maybe I will in future episodes. But this mentor in particular was someone I'd been following for a while. I knew that he actually supported some of my coaches who I had worked with, and I just fell in love with his methodology and teaching. I knew that I would work with him at some point. I didn't know exactly when that would happen. But again, I set my intention because I felt that desire. I felt that whisper to be a part of his world and to learn directly from him. So about a month ago, I started to come up against my own blocks. And so I reached out to his team just to see what the options were in terms of working together. At the time, willing's not the right word, but I was not looking to make a big investment, a 6-figure investment. I was just looking for support in a way that felt good for me at the time. So what they actually offered me was something completely custom that I didn't even know they had available, which was a 2-hour intensive session with this coach. And that was the perfect fit for me. It was the perfect investment. It was the perfect time frame. It was exactly what I needed in the moment. And again, if I hadn't had ever asked, I wouldn't have even known that they offered it. So I was so glad that I followed my heart and just had the conversation. Then after that session, I realized I needed even more support. And I had gotten to the point where we had set our goals for 2020. I knew we were going to be up-leveling big time. And I also knew that I didn't want to do it alone and that I couldn't do it alone. So again, I reached back out to his team and got on the phone with them and ended up signing up for their year-long mentorship program the very next day. And I wanted to share this experience with you because I know a lot of people question what the right decision is when they're looking for a coach. And I'm going to talk about the objections and the issues that I faced when I made this decision, because I know that you listening also have this stuff come up, these blocks, these fears, this emotion. So it's my hope that this will support you in understanding, number one, why it's so powerful to look at this from an outside perspective and really observe what's happening in the mind and recognize that it's not truth. And number two, I hope this helps you get clear on the support that you need to move forward with your goals. So the initial thing that came up for me was the money. Of course, it's always the money. And this investment, like I said, was a 6-figure investment. And it was something that I had to really consider because we obviously have a lot of other stuff that we're paying for on a monthly basis. We have team members, we have subscriptions, we have rent, all the normal stuff. And so there's always another place for the money. There's always another purpose for the money. Oftentimes people put coaching and support on the back burner because they're allocating that money elsewhere in a way that they think is going to provide more ROI. For me, I've learned to really trust my heart and trust the direction in which I'm being called when it comes to the money. But of course, I also look at the numbers. I also include our director of operations in the conversation. I also take a clear look at our projections and what's to come. So I'm not going into that decision blindly. I'm not just making it from a place of, oh, I really want this. But I'll be perfectly honest with you in saying that anytime I've invested in a program, It's never been the quote unquote right time. There's always been another way in which I could spend the money. It's always seemed a bit extravagant. If I was on the outside looking in, I wouldn't say that we had all of our ducks in a row ready to spend this money. It wasn't just sitting under the mattress. We had to deliberately think about how we could make this happen and turn it into reality because it was my desire. And at the time that I'm recording this episode, James and I have spent about $500,000 on personal development and business support in our coaching company over the past 5 years. And so I'm not scared to make investments. But again, I want you to really understand, if you think that the money is just going to be sitting there and that there's not going to be any other purpose for it, you're kidding yourself, because we can always find another purpose for the money. So you have to get clear on whether it's something that you truly want. And if so, then you can find the money. The money is just truly an afterthought. You have to get clear on the desire first and foremost. But like I said, it was a consideration for me, but I knew that the desire was there. And then when it comes to the money, you have to ask yourself, am I going to get an ROI from this? And if the answer is yes, then again, it's kind of a no-brainer. I know that money is going to come back to me millions of times over. The person I'm working with is someone who I've developed trust with. I've seen their methodology. I've seen that the work that they do in the world through other clients that they've supported. I know that they themselves have spent decades studying the stuff that I want to learn. And so I know that the ROI is there. So again, that's another question to ask yourself. Is the ROI there? Am I going to get a return on my investment? The next question to ask yourself in terms of the money is, do I trust myself to make this money back? Because the educational pieces might be there. The coach might be the right person for you. But do you trust yourself enough to know that you're going to put in the work and apply what it is that they're teaching you in order to get those results? That's really the main question you need to ask. And truth be told, that's the reason most people doubt and stop and put on those brakes when they're about to make an investment. They don't actually trust themselves. I'm sure you can look back at previous situations where maybe you said no to something or you didn't move forward. And I'd imagine that most of the time that happened because you didn't trust yourself enough to know that, you know what, even if this coach absolutely sucked, I would get something out of this and make this money back because I believe in an abundant universe. That's the mindset that we want to go into opportunities with, that money's going to come back to you. Okay. Money is just energy. It flows in and out. We are meant to spend money. We're not about stockpiling money, just sitting on it, putting it under the mattress and leaving it there. We want to do something that's going to make a difference. But that also means that you have to trust yourself and to know that you're going to put in the effort and that you're going to use that money wisely. And when I say wisely, all I mean is that you are making an investment with your eyes wide open. And for me, I knew that I was going to give 1,000% to this coaching experience. I know that when I make an investment, because I'm handing over the money and money is energy, then I'm going to get something back, right? And I've invested in it. I've committed to it. I'm going to be a lot more committed if I have a 5-figure payment coming out of the bank account every single month, holding me accountable. As you probably heard me say a million times already, if you've been an avid listener of the podcast, money is your coach. And it's the same thing here. And when you're making a decision to move forward with a coaching experience, that is part of the coaching right then and there when you're making the decision. You have to decide if you're ready to up-level, if you're ready to move forward, if you're ready to say yes to your vision and your dreams, if you're ready to finally trust yourself to make the most of what you know you're saying you want in your life. Are you willing to go to that next level? Are you willing to let go of control and recognize that you don't know everything and you're not meant to? That's why it's so important to get those people in your life who do know and who have come before you. So all of that is part of the coaching. And literally when you say yes, it's a next level experience in itself. You become different just by saying yes. And that same thing happened to me. The moment I said yes, it was like, oh my gosh, I can feel so much relief because I know that someone has my back. I know that I'm not floundering into this next level, wondering how I'm going to reach my goals. I know that someone has been there and done it. And so I don't have to play the guessing game. So it automatically created relief for me and also a next level of confidence. So when you sign up for something and you know someone has your back, again, you're so much more confident because you're like, again, I'm not figuring it out on my own. This person's going to help me. They're going to help me go to the next level. I'm confident with my clients now. If I have a question, then this coach can help me answer it. All of that stuff that creates this next level energy and way in which you see yourself, which is so attractive to other people who are looking at you. Could be clients, could be business partners, it could be potential affiliates, any sort of partnership, right? It's important that you look at how you're coming across to those who are observers. And by investing in working with somebody and having that mentorship, you will gain so much more confidence and become that next level version of you without even doing anything, literally with just saying yes, with signing the contract, with handing over the money. It's that exchange and it automatically up levels you, which I absolutely love. The other thing I had to move past besides the money was this belief that I was being selfish for spending the money and wanting James to be able to have money as well to be able to invest in a coach. So when I had the conversation with this coach and his team about making the decision, I actually asked James to come in and be on the call with me. I wanted to have that experience together. The level of investment that we were making, which is over 6 figures, as I mentioned, that's a consideration for both of us because we actually share money. But he was 1,000,000% in and supportive of my decision. And what I realized that we as women struggle with is giving ourselves that permission and being selfish. And I actually said to my coach on that call when we were exploring my options, I said, is it selfish of me to take this money and pay you for this coaching? Take this money away from James, take this money away from his future and what he wants to do. And that coach said, yes, it is. And you have to. And the reason why is something I will never forget. He said, because it's actually selfish for you not to do it. James has been supporting you and your vision for the past 5 years. And for you to sit here and say, okay, well, that's good. That's all I've got in me. I'm not ready to up level. I'm not going to go to the next level. Well, that's selfish. And that's actually going to be harmful to James and his dreams. You owe it to both of you to go to the next level and make an investment in going to that next level. And I had truly never thought about it like that. I had never thought that me not moving forward with a program would be selfish. Okay, so I want you to really think about that. By you not saying yes to your next level, who is that hurting besides you? Is it hurting your spouse? Is it hurting your kids? Is it hurting those clients who are waiting to find you? Probably yes, because you're staying stuck and you're not in the place of transformation and you're not in the place of up leveling and you're not as confident as you could be and you don't have someone guiding you, which means you're not going to do it as quickly, which means you will stay stagnant. You might waste money. You might waste time. And that hurts the rest of the people in your life and it hurts your company and hurts your clients. And so when you think about it from that perspective, it's irresponsible not to get the support that you're craving. I hope this is making sense. And so I had to remember that James is also truly abundant and James is capable of bringing in any amount of money that he desires. He doesn't need me to carry him. And so me allocating this money towards my own personal coaching and the coaching that will help our business, it was necessary. And it actually was, again, a requirement for me to up level and a requirement for me to say, you know what? I Heart My Life is ready for that next level. We are going to do it. We are going to make it happen. And I'm going to be fully supported. And I also know that there's an abundance of money for James and whatever he desires to do, whatever he's being called to do in terms of support or who he wants to work with, he will find that money and he will make it happen because I know that he is resourceful. He is abundant. He is magnificent. And I'm sharing this with you because I know that you have this thought process. One of our sales team members, she said that anytime she goes to women-only events, it's very challenging for her. And she said that's because the women in the room make decisions so much slower than men. And it's because we are thinking about who this is going to affect. Is it going to affect the kids? Is it going to affect our husband? Do we need to ask somebody for permission to pay this amount of money? Who do we need to talk to? And then we develop a lack of trust in ourselves. And so we go round in circles around, is this the right thing for me? What happens if I fail? What happens if we become homeless? I've literally had clients say that to me, that one of their worries is that they're going to lose everything and end up on the streets. That is fatalistic thinking. and that's not serving you. So we want to start to think about the possibilities. And I want you to think about what doors are going to open by you saying yes, how it's going to affect your family's life positively, how it's going to show your spouse or partner that anything is possible and open up more doors for them. I know at our live event, I Heart My Life Live, one of our clients was on the success panel and sharing her story. And she shared about how this year her partner was actually able to take a sabbatical. He's an artist and he's always wanted to take time off to do his work. And so because of her success and the success of her business, she was able to provide him that opportunity. And she's invested a lot of money with us. I think last year alone was about $30,000. This year is about $50,000. But it's because she said yes. And now she's a part of our next level mastermind and she's going all in. And I can only imagine what's available for her partner because she said yes and she's going all in. So I hope that makes sense. The other thing that I had to move past was the timing. So often we think that there's going to be a perfect time. As I said to you, this coach who I'm working with was on my radar for a very long time. And so I knew of him and I knew that we would work together someday. And so often people have that mentality, that someday mentality. And I totally get it. I get that we have to make important and good financial decisions and that sometimes there is a timing consideration. But what I found more often than not is that the right time is when you feel called to do something. So the mind is going to bring up all these stories about why it's not the right time because it doesn't want you to move forward. It wants you to stay stuck. And so my encouragement for you is to recognize when that is happening. So let me share my story in particular that I think will help you really understand how this works. So in order to work with this coach who I've signed up with, part of the package is that you have to do a 3-day intensive with them and their team and about 15 other people who will be in the room. And those intensives happen just a few times a year. So at the time that I signed up for this program in January 2020, the next retreat was happening in about 2 weeks. And so when they first told me this, they said, we have one spot left for the February retreat. Not sure if that would work with you, but that's the opportunity. My first thought was, oh no, absolutely not. I could never do that. Number one, we're going to be in England at the time. And number two, it's just too much. We have a launch coming up as well. We just hosted our live event. It's just going to be too much. They told me that I would have to take 3 days off, that I would have to turn off my phone, put my out of office on, not be available to the team because it is such an immersive experience. They even told me that if I was going to rent a car, they highly recommend that I didn't rent a car actually, because it's such an intense experience. They don't want anyone driving. So these are all the things I heard before saying yes. And so I initially said no. I said, no, I can't do that. When is the next one? And they said, well, it's not till May. And I thought to myself, you know what? I am paying 6 figures for this incredible experience. And I will be damned if I don't go all in. And so I decided to go all in. And that meant I had to change my flight. I actually had to reroute myself from London to another city instead of going back to Los Angeles. I had to actually change my flight completely. So it took me to New York. And then I had to book an additional flight to get from New York to where the retreat is going to be and then back to LA. And then I had to book hotel rooms. So I haven't even paid for everything yet. And it's already at about $2,000 additional compared to what I was planning to spend this month. But I'm sharing this with you because, again, we think that there's going to be a perfect time and we keep waiting, and we forget that people change their plans all the time. Now, what I had to really ask myself is, am I fully committed to my vision? Am I fully committed to my up level? If so, then nothing else matters. The rest is just logistics. And I'd imagine, based on the fact that I often have to wait when I call into airlines, that people are changing their flights all the time. They're giving themselves permission to pay those change fees, to make the adjustments, and to change their plans. And so often I hear women in particular being so stuck on this plan that they've made, not being willing to adjust and reframe and change the calendar dates. So one of the things that I've heard from many coaches is that when we're attached, we're unable to grow. If you think about that, we're attached to this thing, we're tethered to it. We're unable to grow and transform because we're attached. And so I want you to really think, are you attached to this perfect schedule and not willing to adjust? Not only did I have to change my plans in terms of travel and realize that, you know what, I might be a bit jet lagged. Like, let's figure that out. Let's figure out how I'm going to be healthy, how I'm going to be energetic. Okay. I also had to realize that it's during a pre-launch. We will literally be going into a launch right after I'm in this retreat experience. So I had to message my team and say, hey guys, can you handle this? And again, so often we think that that's a roadblock. We shouldn't be at the retreat or the event because we're in the middle of our launch. Well, ask yourself, do you want to live in a life where you are restricted, or are you going to get a team in place who can support you in going to the next level and really putting in place any of the plans or any of the tasks that you shouldn't be doing anyway? If you are the visionary, you need to ask yourself, are you putting yourself into visionary experiences? Or right now, are you stuck in the day-to-day that you shouldn't actually be doing anyway? So again, money's your coach here. Maybe it's scary to hire that support in terms of your team. Maybe you're questioning whether you're ready for it. Well, I want you to ask yourself, are you saying no to visionary type things and things that only you can be doing because you're weighed down by tasks that you should not be doing? And if that's a yes, then you absolutely need to be hiring. So that was one of the things that I had to move past as well. Again, in an ideal world, I would have potentially made this decision a while ago. Maybe the retreat would be sometime in April. Maybe we wouldn't have a launch around the same time. But frankly, I love this experience because I'm here sharing this with you today. And so I'm not making any of it wrong. I'm not making the timing wrong. The timing is perfect. And it's showing me what I'm capable of. And it's showing me the level of support that I've put within our company to be able to help me go to the next level. And it's showing me how committed I am to the vision. And it's showing me how much I trust myself to go to the next level. So I want you to really take a look at all this here today. Take some notes, really think about all of this as you're making your next level decisions. I know for us, we have so many opportunities for us to help you go to the next level. We are enrolling people in our I Heart My Life Mastermind, which has 2 levels, Signature and Elite. And it's an absolutely incredible next level experience for the driven woman who wants to achieve and surpass all of her goals this year. If that's of interest to you, I invite you to reach out to our team at info@iheartmylife.com and we'll get you set up with a call. I invite you to not listen to your mind when it tells you that's not meant for me. I invite you to not let money hold you back. Allow money to be your coach, to show you those blind spots, to show you where you need to develop more trust within yourself. Trust that you know you're going to be able to go to the next level, that you know that what's calling you is actually meant for you. That trust piece is so, so key. And then please don't let anything stand in the way. When people ask me, for our mastermind, there are actual in-person events and retreats. When people ask me the dates and the locations, and then that stops them from moving forward, frankly, I get a little bit upset because that makes no sense to me. You have to ask yourself, if your life was at risk, or if somebody else's life was at risk, or heaven forbid, someone passed away and you happen to be on a trip, or you happen to have something else going on and you need to change your plans, you would do it, right? If your life was at risk, you would make that change. You would call that airline. You would make that change, accept the fee, do what you needed to do to create the life that you wanted, right? Well, your life is at risk right now. You're at risk of staying small, of staying stuck, of not upleveling, of not fulfilling your purpose. And so when you look at things from that perspective, yeah, my life is at risk right now. Yeah, I'm at risk of staying stuck. I'm at risk of playing small. I'm at risk of not serving people who truly need me. And frankly, that's scary. That's a much scarier place to be in. So if you have to make a decision to change something in your calendar to get additional support in your life or in your business in order to make a commitment to be in the room and get the support that you need, then I highly recommend you do it. Okay? Your life is at risk right now. The life that you desire is there for the taking, but you have to make a decision and you have to get fully committed. And if you're not willing to do that, you have to ask yourself, how bad do you actually want it? One of the things that happens when we invest in coaching and support is that we have to let go of something of a lower vibration in order to get to the next level. And that's all that happens when you release the things that are no longer serving you and you actually recognize, you know what? I don't need this amount of money right here. I need this support. Let's release that. And we're going to go to the next level because, again, we're releasing that thing that's keeping us stuck. That fear, that doubt, that insecurity, and money is a way to actually be able to do that. When we think about it from that perspective, it's a no-brainer, okay? So I want you to really think about everything I've been sharing here today and ask yourself, if your life depended on it, what would you do? Would you sign up? Would you change the flight? Would you rearrange the calendar? Would you schedule the nanny to come to watch the kids? Because the truth is your life does depend on it. And I invite you to start to recognize what it is that you're capable of and trust you have what it takes to make that money back, to see the ROI, and then find the people that you know will help you get the results that you want and say yes. I hope you loved today's episode and that you can see that fear and doubt happens to the best of us, and it's actually part of the upleveling process. I want to invite you to apply for our I Heart My Life Mastermind. We have some spots available and we're accepting applications and booking calls for anyone who's interested in learning more about working with us within the mastermind, getting the support that you need to go to the next level and claiming everything that's available to you at that next level and beyond. So email our team at info@iheartmylife.com to learn more about getting the support that you need in your business and life as you quantum leap into the next few months and year to come. Thank you for listening to the I Heart My Life show. For more inspiration, success tips, and ways to achieve your life and business goals, definitely follow me on Facebook and Instagram on I Heart My Life Now. See you next time.